Welcome to the Trackpaths Military Podcast, your go-to destination for exploring the rich history, strategies, and leadership lessons of warfare. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to the podcast and sign up for the weekly newsletter. You can also explore published books by visiting Jason's authors page at trackpaths.com. Let's get started. George Washington, the general who built a nation. George Washington was more than just a military commander. He was the architect of American independence and the leader who transformed a rebellion into a functioning nation. His strategic vision, resilience, and ability to inspire loyalty shaped the course of the Revolutionary War and set the foundation for the country's future. From his early experiences in the French and Indian War to his command of the Continental Army, Washington's leadership was marked by adaptability, discipline, and an understanding of both warfare and political strategy. He navigated immense challenges, from untrained troops and limited resources to divided loyalties, yet he forged a force capable of standing against the world's most powerful military. Beyond the battlefield, his commitment to servant leadership, his rejection of personal power, and his emphasis on unity established a model of governance that endures to this day. Understanding Washington's military strategies and leadership principles offers valuable insights not only into the Revolutionary War, but into the qualities that define great leaders across history. Early military career. George Washington's first significant military experience came during the French and Indian War, a conflict that pitted British and colonial forces against the French and their Native American allies for control of North America. At just 21 years old, Washington was sent on a dangerous diplomatic mission to warn the French to withdraw from the Ohio Valley, an assignment that exposed him to the complexities of frontier warfare. His first taste of combat came soon after, when he led a small force that ambushed a French detachment at Jumonville Glen, an engagement that unexpectedly escalated tensions between the two empires. His early command at Fort Necessity ended in surrender, a humbling lesson that would shape his understanding of warfare and the brutal realities of military leadership. Washington's experiences in the French and Indian War taught him critical lessons about leadership, strategy, and the harsh challenges of colonial warfare. He learned firsthand the importance of logistics and supply lines, as his forces often struggled with shortages of food, ammunition, and reinforcements. He also witnessed the deadly efficiency of irregular warfare, as Native American and French forces used ambush tactics and hit-and-run attacks to devastating effect. His time in the field reinforced the value of mobility and adaptability, as rigid European battlefield tactics often proved ineffective in the dense forests of North America. These hard-earned lessons would later inform his leadership during the Revolutionary War, where unconventional warfare became a key element of the American strategy. Despite setbacks, Washington earned a reputation for bravery and dedication, qualities that caught the attention of both colonial leaders and British military officials. He displayed remarkable personal courage, often leading from the front and exposing himself to enemy fire, a trait that endeared him to his troops. His leadership during the chaotic retreat from the Battle of the Monongahela, where he helped rally British and colonial forces after General Braddock was mortally wounded, further solidified his reputation. Even in defeat, his ability to maintain composure and organize an orderly withdrawal demonstrated a level of command presence rare in officers of his age and experience. These moments of crisis revealed Washington's natural leadership instincts, proving that his influence extended beyond tactical decisions to the morale and survival of his men. The British military practices heavily influenced Washington's early career, shaping both his strengths and frustrations as an officer. He observed the discipline, training, and command structures that made the British Army one of the most formidable forces in the world. However, he also experienced firsthand the rigid social hierarchies that limited colonial officers from advancing within British ranks, a source of personal frustration that fueled his desire for American self-governance. His exposure to European-style warfare gave him a solid foundation in battlefield tactics, but he also recognized its limitations in the rough terrain of North America. By combining British military discipline with the irregular tactics he had seen used by Native American and French forces, he developed a hybrid approach to warfare that would serve him well in the revolution to come. The lessons Washington learned during the French and Indian War prepared him for the immense challenges he would face leading the Continental Army against the British. His understanding of terrain, logistics, and unconventional tactics gave him an edge in a war where traditional military superiority did not guarantee victory. His ability to lead under fire, manage limited resources, and inspire loyalty in his troops all stemmed from his experiences as a young officer. While his early military career was marked by both triumphs and failures, it provided him with the resilience and strategic mindset necessary to one day command a revolution. Leadership in the Revolutionary War. In 1775, as tensions between the American colonies and Britain erupted into open conflict, George Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. His selection was as much a political decision as a military one, as the Continental Congress sought a leader who could unify the colonies, particularly bringing Virginia, the largest and most influential colony, fully into the fight. Washington accepted the role with a sense of duty rather than personal ambition, understanding the monumental challenge ahead. Unlike the British, who had a well-trained and well-equipped military, Washington's army was composed of farmers, tradesmen, and volunteers with little experience in warfare. His ability to transform this ragtag force into a functional fighting unit would define his leadership throughout the war. The challenges Washington faced were immense, ranging from a lack of training among his troops to chronic shortages of weapons, ammunition, and food. The Continental Army struggled with poor funding, as Congress had little power to levy taxes, and many soldiers went unpaid for long periods. Divided loyalties within the colonies further complicated matters, as loyalists remained committed to British rule while others wavered in their support for the Revolution. Desertion was a constant threat, and keeping his army intact required Washington to balance discipline with understanding. Despite these hardships, his leadership created a sense of unity and purpose among his men, instilling in them the belief that they were fighting for something far greater than themselves: freedom and independence. Washington's ability to seize the initiative in key moments helped turn the tide of the war, as seen in his daring surprise attack on Trenton in December 1776. In a bold move, he led his troops across the icy Delaware River on Christmas night, catching Hessian forces off guard and securing a much-needed victory. This triumph revitalized the American cause at a time when morale was dangerously low, proving that the Continental Army could defeat professional European soldiers. Years later, Washington's strategic patience paid off at Yorktown in 1781, where he coordinated with French land and naval forces to trap British General Cornwallis. This decisive victory effectively ended major combat operations, showcasing Washington's ability to orchestrate complex campaigns that leveraged timing, coordination, and adaptability. Keeping an army together under extreme hardship requires more than battlefield strategy. It demands a leader who can sustain morale in the darkest of times. Nowhere was this tested more than during the brutal winter at Valley Forge in 1777 and 1778, where Washington's army endured freezing temperatures, disease, and starvation. Rather than allowing despair to take hold, he used this time to rebuild, enlisting Baron von Steuben to drill his men in European-style tactics and discipline. What emerged from Valley Forge was a more cohesive, battle-ready army, proving that Washington's leadership extended beyond tactics into fostering resilience. His presence among the troops, sharing in their hardships, reinforced his men's loyalty and commitment to the cause. Washington's ability to leverage alliances, particularly with France, played a decisive role in the outcome of the war. From securing supplies and funding to coordinating joint military operations, his diplomatic skill was as critical as his battlefield leadership. The French Navy, under Admiral de Grasse, helped blockade Yorktown, cutting off British escape and ensuring victory. Washington understood that no revolution could succeed without external support, and his ability to navigate the political landscape of international alliances gave the Continental Army the resources it desperately needed. His leadership was not just about commanding troops, it was about shaping a strategy that turned a colonial rebellion into a global conflict Britain could not sustain. Military strategies and tactics. George Washington understood from the beginning of the Revolutionary War that the Continental Army could not match the British in head-on battles of sheer force. Instead of chasing immediate victories, his strategy prioritized survival, endurance, and avoiding catastrophic defeats that could end the revolution. He knew that as long as the Continental Army remained intact, the cause for independence remained alive. His approach frustrated the British, who were accustomed to decisive engagements that would end a war swiftly. By refusing to be drawn into unwinnable battles, Washington forced the British into a prolonged conflict, stretching their resources thin and increasing war fatigue in both the military and Parliament. To offset the military superiority of the British, Washington integrated guerrilla tactics and strategic retreats into his overall approach. He understood that the vast geography of the colonies, combined with local support, gave the Americans an advantage in unconventional warfare. His forces used hit-and-run tactics, disrupted British supply lines, and engaged in ambushes that slowly wore down enemy forces. At key moments such as the Battle of Long Island, Washington executed well-planned retreats to preserve his army, famously evacuating his troops across the East River under cover of fog to escape encirclement. His ability to retreat when necessary was not a sign of weakness, but a calculated move that prolonged the fight and allowed his forces to strike when conditions were favorable. Intelligence gathering played a critical role in Washington's military strategy, as he recognized that information was as valuable as firepower. The Culper spy ring, one of the most effective espionage networks of the war, provided crucial intelligence on British troop movements, supply chains, and battle plans. Washington's reliance on deception and misinformation campaigns further confused the enemy, leading the British to misallocate forces and misjudge American capabilities. His use of double agents and coded messages was ahead of its time, demonstrating his understanding that wars were not won solely on the battlefield, but through superior planning and knowledge. The ability to anticipate enemy actions gave the Continental Army a strategic edge in key engagements. Discipline and professionalism were at the heart of Washington's vision for the Continental Army, transforming it from an undisciplined militia into a capable fighting force. Early in the war, he struggled with short-term enlistments, desertions, and a lack of standard training among his soldiers. To address this, he emphasized strict military discipline, implementing punishments for insubordination, while also improving training methods. His decision to bring in European officers like Baron von Steuben was pivotal, as von Steuben introduced standardized drills, bayonet training, and battlefield formations that strengthened the Army's effectiveness. By instilling professionalism and a sense of order, Washington turned his soldiers into a force that could go toe-to-toe with the British in conventional engagements. Washington's military strategy was always closely tied to political considerations, as he had to maintain support from both the Continental Congress and the broader colonial population. He understood that public perception and morale were just as important as battlefield success, and he carefully managed his campaigns to keep confidence in the revolution high. His ability to communicate victories, no matter how small, kept the spirit of resistance alive, while his avoidance of major disasters reassured political leaders that the cause was not lost. He also recognized the need to balance civilian control over the military, ensuring that his role as a general did not overshadow the authority of the new government. His strategic acumen extended beyond the battlefield, shaping the revolution into not just a war for independence, but a movement that inspired people to fight for a new nation. Legacy and leadership lessons. George Washington exemplified servant leadership, a quality that set him apart from many military and political leaders of his time. He did not seek power for personal gain, but rather accepted leadership roles out of duty and a sense of responsibility to the fledgling nation. Unlike many revolutionary leaders throughout history who clung to authority after securing victory, Washington famously resigned his commission at the end of the war, voluntarily relinquishing power, a decision that shocked the world. His humility was further demonstrated when he declined any suggestion of a monarchy or extended rule, setting the precedent for peaceful transitions of power in the United States. His leadership was not about dominance or control, but about ensuring that the ideals of the revolution, liberty, self-governance, and the rule of law, remained intact beyond his time. One of Washington's greatest strengths was his ability to inspire loyalty and unity among diverse groups, a critical skill in an era where the colonies were more divided than united. He led an army composed of men from different regions, backgrounds, and personal beliefs, yet he forged them into a cohesive force through his example and steady leadership. His ability to navigate tensions between militia forces, continental soldiers, and political factions was a testament to his diplomatic skill. Even in the face of mutinies and political infighting, Washington maintained the trust of his men and the respect of Congress. His leadership kept the revolution alive when morale was at its lowest, proving that a unifying presence at the top could hold together even the most fragile of movements. Washington's strategic thinking continues to influence modern military doctrine, as his emphasis on adaptability, intelligence gathering, and asymmetric warfare remains relevant in contemporary conflicts. His understanding of the strategic value of avoiding unnecessary engagements, wearing down the enemy, and leveraging alliances is still studied in military academies today. Concepts like special operations, unconventional warfare, and strategic retreats all echo Washington's approach to outmaneuvering a superior force. Even in leadership beyond the battlefield, his ability to balance immediate needs with long-term goals provides valuable insight for military and civilian leaders alike. His decisions were never just about winning the next battle, they were about ensuring the survival of the cause itself. Throughout his career, Washington carefully balanced personal ambition with the greater good, a challenge that has tested many leaders throughout history. He certainly had the opportunity to seize more power. After the war, many suggested he become king, a notion he firmly rejected. His restraint in stepping away from power after 2 presidential terms reinforced the idea that the republic was larger than any single leader. Unlike other revolutionary figures who became consumed by their own authority, Washington understood that true leadership meant creating a system that could thrive without him. His willingness to step aside not only solidified democracy in America, but also provided a model for leadership that valued service over self-interest. The lessons from Washington's leadership remain applicable to today's challenges, whether in military, political, or corporate settings. His ability to lead through adversity, unify people toward a common goal, and maintain integrity under pressure offers a timeless blueprint for effective leadership. His emphasis on resilience, adaptability, and long-term vision can be applied to everything from crisis management to nation building. In a world that often rewards ambition over humility, Washington's leadership serves as a reminder that the most enduring impact comes not from seizing power, but from guiding others with purpose, discipline, and selfless dedication to a cause greater than oneself. Conclusion: George Washington's leadership in War and Peace not only secured American independence, but also laid the foundation for the nation's military and governmental principles. His ability to balance strategic patience with bold action, inspire unity among diverse groups, and maintain unwavering commitment to a cause greater than himself set a standard for leadership that remains relevant today. He transformed a struggling army into a disciplined force, leveraged alliances to shift the tide of war, and, most importantly, demonstrated that true power lies in service rather than personal ambition. His decisions shaped not only the outcome of the Revolutionary War, but also the very character of the United States, proving that resilience, adaptability, and integrity are as essential to leadership as strategy and tactics. Washington's legacy is not just that of a victorious general, but of a leader whose vision and principles continue to influence military and civilian leaders alike. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the TrackPass podcast. Do not forget to check out the TrackPads online newsletter, where we take things to the next level with multimedia content. Each issue features fascinating and informative photos, videos, and articles that bring the stories of military life to you in a dynamic and engaging way. Be sure to subscribe at trackpads.com to stay informed and entertained. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the incredible world of military history and life.